Give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the coffee. Wake me up, shake me up, dip me like a lassie. One sip, two sips, and I'm feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive. Woke up in the morning, sleepy eyes yawning. Jumped out of bed, started the day, opened the curtains. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the coffee. Wake me up, shake me up, dip me like a lassie. One sip, two sips, and I'm feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive.
Good morning. It didn't want to work right. It's got to get woke up, I guess. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in this morning. Forrest, good to see you. Butterfly, always good to see you in here. Pokemon, we're on a roll this morning. We got a crew in here. We'll give it a few minutes for the notifications to get out there and get everybody out and into the chat and see how we're doing here. You sound check. You guys can hear me okay? Let me pull up the feed on my phone because y'all know this restream chat is so slow. I can't ever see what's going on there. Okay. Okay. Yes. Good morning, Hawkeyes. Good morning, Dolphin. Everybody welcome in. Wow. So yesterday was a lot, you know. It was a lot. Let me just say that. Wrestle plunge. Morning. Morning. Welcome on in. Yep, the mod crew is here, Butterfly. Wait, wrong account. You're all good. We got you either way. Come on in here. With that said, guys, Friday night, I'll be hanging out over there with Publicly Buzzed and Miss Shorty for a little Feral Friday. We're going to get feral over there. And Steve, your Twitter post, man, you're sitting behind a car. I don't know. Shelly, do you have a clue what was going on there? I just saw it like 2 seconds ago. And I'm like, dude, you're sitting behind a car. That's all I know. So welcome on in, Publicly Buzz. Good to see you. Jeff H., did you slide in here? You sure did. Look at you slithering around. You slithering like Koberger. Welcome in, everybody. We're going to get started unpacking the documents that were dropped in the Moscow Police Department website yesterday. They had it up and running a little while after the press conference, like they said they would. Surprise, surprise, but they did. And the documents are there. And I was looking over them last night, and I had to put everything down. I'm not going to lie. I had to put everything down for a little while and just, forget it. I'm going to bed because it was a lot yesterday. Life is weird as fuck, dude. That was 18 years ago, Buzzed. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, you know what? You have aged very well. Let's just say that. Good morning, Sirius. Welcome in as always. Good to see you. So guys, before we get started though, I'm going to show you something about little Stearns got shipped off to prison. And after tomorrow, we can ship Lori's ass right back off to prison as well. Koberger's already been shipped off to prison, waiting on new mugshots to come down from him. So I'm going to show you guys what Stearns looks like over there, headed to the Central Florida Reception Center. He'll probably be there about 4 to 6 weeks to be processed out and then filled out to another Florida prison. And I'm on top of which one he's going to because I really want to know. Let me get the screen up here. You guys take a look. They shaved his head just like Alex Murdaugh. We do that in Florida. We don't want you bringing your critters in with you. Get out of here. Look at that ugly ass. Bald headed, and not by choice. My ex-husband liked to shave his hair completely off because he has so much of it. But yeah, Stearns is not getting anything by choice anymore, is he? So there you go. He is now an inmate at the Florida Reception Center, and he is sentenced to life. And yeah, good luck in Florida State Prison, Bubba. You gonna get called Bubba by a Bubba. Trust me. Bubbas are waiting on your ass. You better hope they protect you well in the Florida State Penitentiary, especially if you come to Stark. And if you know, you know. So maybe I'll have to do a little members only about Stern's prison experience. We're going to do one on Koberger too. I was looking at those TVs last night, Dolphin. I got curious. I had to go plundering around, and I found the damn little clear tablets and the clear TVs. I'm like, who's going to pay for his stuff? His parents? Somehow he looks more like a pedo now, right, Buzzed? Exactly what I thought when I saw that late last night. I got a really good buddy on the Twitter who hooks me up with stuff, and I was waiting on that to come down last night. We saw that he had been moved, but no mugshot yet. As soon as that mugshot came down, he hit me up in my DMs like, look, look, look. I was like, oh, shoot. Look at here. So anyway, what's going on here in the chat? Let's see. Pokemon says, how does he look more of a predator now? With that bald head, he just kind of looks a little more menacing there. If you can look more menacing, right, as a pedo. Jeff says, I got ridiculed for my opinion that the surviving roommates thought they were being pranked. But that's exactly what Bethany says in her interview. Yeah, Jeff, you weren't the only one, dude. A lot of us got trashed on the internet for even suggesting we be kind to the roommates or suggesting Koberger was actually the guy. Take a look at the evidence. A lot of us were shunned, kicked out of chats, banned here, banned there, all by them Koberger people. And I'm really sick of those people right now. I've left them alone. I stay in my lane. I hate the term Koberger, but internet's forced me to say it several times. I try so hard to stay in my lane with those people, but I have to tell you, yesterday I had some fun on the Twitter with some of them. I couldn't help it. If I get bored, Twitter becomes my playground. And this mouth, sometimes I try to reel it in because there's a few people on the Twitter I have no desire to talk to or argue with. But a few of them, I'm like, no, nah, that's stupid to even say. Let me come back with something. If I'm bored, I get dangerous. I don't like to get bored because I know shit will get sideways real quickly if I don't be careful. And I ain't trying to go at people. They're not worth it. Welcome in, Teresa. Welcome in. All right, guys. So we took a look over there at Stern's ugly mug. And like I said, Koberger, according to the updates we got on our VineLink notifications, he's already been moved as well. And he'll start his little process to his new home as well. So I guess a lot of you saw, the hearing and the sentencing, and how emotional that was with all the family members coming up and speaking, listening to the roommates. Bethany's statement read, Dylan's there in person, which was kind of surprised to see her, but I'm glad she showed up. I've got no ill will toward that kid. Of course, we all had questions in the beginning of who wouldn't, an 8-hour gap. Of course, we're going to question it, but as we learn more and more and more, we came to understand more and more and more. And for the people who say this case wasn't investigated properly, I don't even know what to tell y'all. You can't read, you can't compute, comprehend, wrap your head around stuff. There's just no helping some people. So we're gonna have to let them people be. Good morning, Sejoy, coming in with that joyful name as usual. Let me get my files pulled up here, guys, so we can start diving in. Now we're going to do it a little differently here today. I don't know where he is, but I should be having somebody come up here with me. We're going to go over like the first 50 doc drop here, And then I'm going to sign off, take a few minute break, and then I'm going to Joe's channel because Joe's going to start back up with it as well. He should be up here in a little bit. Okay. And next week, guys, here at the channel, we are going to start taking our deep dive into all of those Delphi documents that were dropped, because I can't not cover it. I've covered Delphi for far too long, and there's a lot of important information in those documents as well that need to be discussed. And Joe and I will get back to that. Every time I click what I want to click, my email pops up for some reason. It's not working. This shit needs to wake up. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Duh. Okay, y'all give me a sec. All right, here we go. So the first set of documents contains like 50 different reports and narratives, things of that nature. And we're going to start moving through the documents here. Oh, serious. Yeah, that's like I told you, hun. There's no help for that one. We just have to. Mm. I know what you're talking about, though. I know exactly what you're talking about. So I get you. But you're safe here, girl. You're safe here. Joe did get rest last night, Hawkeyes. He did. I talked to him this morning. Well, I've talked to him several times. Of course, when he got there, he checked in to let me know he made it safely, and then he did get a good night's sleep. So he's got a couple of things going on this morning, but he'll be up. Yes, I did, Joe. Hold on. It should be in there. Should be in your DM, Joe, if you're listening. Oh, it's not showing up. Hold on. Hold on, Joe. I got you. Let me do this real quick, guys. My link didn't work for him, apparently. Goodness. The joys of going live without a big old team like those mainstream media people have. There you go, Mr. Joe Schmo. Okay, now we can get back to business. Okay. First thing we're going to pull up is a general narrative, and at the bottom, okay, so when I pull this up, I can't see Restream anymore, so I'm going to have to pull you guys up on my phone. I just sent it again, Joe. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. Okay, let me pull. Okay, now I can see you guys, and let me know. Let me get the screen up. How's it not gonna? Oh, Lord. Hold on. I don't know why it's not wanting to screen share now. Let me do it this way. I tested it this morning, made sure everything was good, everything was going to show up the way it should, and yeah, it was working then, but of course it's not going to work right now. I did it like 3 different times, in fact. Okay. All right, let me see if I can share screen like this, get this up here. All right. Now it should work. Okay, now I can share the screen. Sorry, guys, that took a minute. Thanks for being patient. All right. There you are. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, but my audio is not playing through my Bluetooth headset right now.
Oh, I don't mess with the Bluetooth headsets. People always seem to have a lot of issues with that. Okay, so we're going to start taking a look here. Let me get us off the screen. This one actually just starts with, at the bottom of the page is a narrative, but this one just goes through like a lot of the evidence. These are the subpoenas um, that they were originated by and all of that. A lot of subpoenas here were issued. Um, welfare checks, is all kind of stuff they were going to. Here's Brian Christopher Koberger, offender, and then it's got involved, witnesses involved, mentioned, all the names of the people that they were talking to and looking at. All of that came in. Here's reports of vehicles of 2015 Hyundai Elantra, the Range Rover, the Honda Civic, the Chevy Cruze, and those were the victims' cars. Well, of course, the Elantra was Koberger's, but the Range Rover was Kaylee's, the Civic was Xana's, the Chevy Cruze belonged to Maddie, the Jeep Wrangler belonged to Ethan, the Range Rover was Kaylee's. All the initial calls, different things like that. Gray key extracts, selected results, analyzers, newness, emails. This goes over everything that's going to be within the reports, right? Photos, USBs from various locations with video cameras, Indian Hills video. Remember the car was over on Indian Hills riding around. Oh Lord, another vape shop video. That reminds me of Stupid Stearns. Facebook stuff, King Road videos, interviews, all of that is listed through here like that. So there's really, I'm not going to read all that. Let me get down here to the bottom of the page and we'll start with that first supplemental report in here. Joe, are you with me now?
Yes, I am. Okay. I'm here.
Cool. So how was your trip down back to Arizona?
A long, boring trip with a couple of negative highlights and a couple of positive highlights.
Oh goodness, I don't like negative. So everything cool? I mean,
yeah. Just crazy drivers. Crazy drivers make it way more stressful than it needs to be.
When you're on a long trip like that, you're bound to run into some crazy drivers, right? You're bound to run into them. Been there and done that. Well, at least you made it there safely. None of them hit you, caused you any accidents,
No,
none of that happened.
I had to slam on my brakes a couple of times. And in New Mexico, I passed a really bad accident that involved 2 pickup trucks and 2 semi trucks.
I used to hate that when I traveled to Orlando taking my kids to the parks. I would always see a massive wreck on the turnpike and I would be like praying the whole time. Please, God, not us, right? Ever. It was crazy. You have to watch those drivers out there. They're crazy people lurking around everywhere. All right, so you're getting settled to go into Lori Vallow's her sentencing for tomorrow, right?
Yes, the last time that she will get to speak to the public, theoretically, but not definitely.
Yeah. So she will be sentenced for the murder of Charles Vallow and the attempted murder on Brandon Boudreaux, correct?
Yep.
And we have learned that Judge Boreski has denied her motion for new trial. What, again? Second time, I think? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Later, Lori, you're going to go back to the penitentiary, too. When you go over there and join, maybe you'll get over there close to Koberger and you make a new friend. Make Chad jealous. Go fishing and throw some notes to Koberger, right, Lori? She's probably good at fishing. She's like, I can do that shit with my eyes closed, hands tied behind my back. I invented it. All right. Okay, so this is a report, and this one was general narrative outline: 1, offense homicide. Synopsis: Kaylee J. Gonzalez, Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Madison Mogan were found deceased inside 1122 King Road. Total property value: damage, stolen, NA. WatchGuard. Event: yes. Additional responding officers: officers with BWCs: Snyder, Warner, Nunez, Smith, Morris, Rosinski. Case number added to the WG. Evidence: NA. And here's the narrative. Let me get. Hold on, I was trying to get my thing to show up at my. What in the world? Okay. There we go. That's all I needed to do. But my screen was so tiny I couldn't find it. Okay. On 11/13/22, at approximately 11:56 hours, Moscow PD officers responded to an unconscious call. The RP, later identified as, and it's redacted, but it looks to say Bethany Funk, reported her roommate was passed out, not conscious and not breathing. As I was preparing to leave the station, Officer Nunez, who was already on scene, advised of a likely homicide and asked for additional units. While I was en route, Officer Nunez advised he had located 2 additional victims. The victims were later identified as Kaylee Gonzalez, Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, and Madison Mogan. Moscow EMS was asked to stage and not respond to the scene unless requested. Whoops. Upon arrival, I saw, and this appears to be Hunter Johnson, crouching near the entrance to 1122 King Road. Johnson was in obvious emotional distress. I entered through the first floor door, which faces north towards the parking lot. I announced myself as Moscow police officer and heard Officer Nunez and Warner respond from upstairs. When I got to the second floor, I saw a female, trigger warning guys, covered in blood, in the bedroom on the northwest side of the second floor. I believe this female to be Xana. I looked inside the bedroom. Xana was laying, and it was obvious an intense struggle had occurred. Xana was obviously deceased. There was blood smeared on various items in the room and all over the floor. There was blood cast off on the walls in various places, including above Xana's body. Xana was on her back on the floor in the center of the room with her head towards the west. Xana was in her underwear and long-sleeved gray shirt. Both her shirt and underwear were covered in blood. Xana's face and body was covered in dried blood. I could see what appeared to be defensive knife wounds on Xana's hands. There was a deep gash on Xana's left hand, between her pointer finger and thumb. A partially covered male was on the bed and also obviously deceased. I believed this male to be Ethan. The midsection of Ethan's body was covered with a blanket. Ethan's head wasn't visible and appeared to be between the bed and the south wall. There was some blood cast off and what appeared to be arterial blood spray above where Ethan's head was located. I proceeded upstairs to the third floor where I met Officer Nunez and Warner. Officer Nunez and Warner advised the residence was clear of any additional people. There was a dog belonging to Kaylee in the third floor west bedroom, which has access to a third floor deck. The deck has no exterior access to the ground level. I asked Corporal Snyder to cordon off the area and Officer Nunez to start identifying the subjects that were on the scene when he arrived. I asked Warner to start a crime scene log at the front entrance. Once Officer Smith arrived on scene, I asked him to stand guard at the kitchen sliding door, which I later learned was ajar upon arrival. He never shut that back door when he went out it. all the way. Many of us suspected it was not shut all the way, at least, if not left open. On the third floor, I went to the southeast bedroom where Officer Nunez and Warner advised they found two females, whom I believed to be Kaylee and Madison. Both females were obviously deceased. I observed Kaylee laying on the north side of the bed and Madison laying on the south side of the bed with their heads towards the east. And that their heads were both in the same direction. Oh my goodness. Kaylee and Madison were covered by a pink blanket, which was covered in blood. There was a large pool of blood near Kaylee's midsection. So he had to have covered them up, or they were already covered and he just went through the covers. I don't know. There was blood cast off on the east and north walls above Kaylee and Madison. Madison appeared to be laying up against Kaylee. Madison had what appeared to be wounds to her forearm and hands. So, defensive style wounds. Madison had a gash under her right eye, which appeared to go from the corner of her eye to her nose. Kaylee was unrecognizable as her facial structure was extremely damaged. I think Steve Gonzalez has every fucking right to be as pissed and loud as he fucking wants to be. If what I just said offends anybody, I don't honestly care. I asked Nunez to close the door to the bedroom so the dog did not try to disturb the scene. Other than that action, Moscow PD patrol officers left the scene as it was found. I was later confirmed with Officer Nunez that no EMS personnel entered prior to my arrival. I contacted Captain Barrett and advised him of the situation. Captain Barrett said he would activate detectives and get more resources en route. Once Detective Sergeant Lawrence arrived on scene, he requested one of the responding patrol officers began writing a search warrant, which was assigned to Officer Nunez. Corporal Snyder was assigned to take initial photos of the scene while Officer Smith and Warner remained at security at both entrances. I collected the dog from the third floor and took it outside. LCSO Department Olson transported the dog to the Humane Society on my behalf. Officer Nunez was interviewing a large group of individuals which were associated with the residents. Officer Nunez asked that I finish getting contact information for the individuals. I contacted and later added the following names to this call. It appears to be Bethany, Dylan, the residents. Looks like maybe Hunter, and there's another J and H. These are all redacted names here that they were talking to. Once those individuals' names were collected, they were responded to the MPD to be interviewed by detectives. And this is going to be the group of kids that had gathered up out, the ones that came over to help, and then the ones that were outside the home. I assisted.
I'll be right back.
You got that delivery or something? Okay.
Yep.
Go ahead. I assisted with a canvass of the area and was assigned the southernmost apartment at Queen Road. I contacted the residents following apartments whom claimed they didn't hear anything, and then that is redacted. And I attempted to contact the following apartments with no response, and he listed numbers there. There is no apartment number, and those are redacted, whatever the numbers are. I remained associated with the call and assisted with scene security until approximately 1800 hours. Other information, photos attached, follow-up needed, undeveloped leads, refer to Detective Sergeant Blaker and Corporal Payne. Case status active, referred to specialty, yes, detectives. I certify or declare under penalty of perjury pursuant to law of the state of Idaho that the foregoing is true and correct. And that was the end of that particular report. I'm about to pull up my second one here. Okay. How's chat doing? How you guys doing? Uh, welcome in, Dill Hole. You guys, you trying to make me laugh this morning. I need a laugh. I've got so much coffee right now. Look, I brought my backup coffee into the office with me. I'm like, I'm not going to get up and go back to the kitchen. I'm just going to bring that shit with me to the office. I'm going to work smarter, not harder, right? It's about time for a refill. Okay, so now we're going to get to the first actual supplemental report in the... Oh, darn it. Hold on, guys. Okay. I wonder now if Maddie woke up before... I don't know how to say it without it. Like, she woke up during her attack, maybe? I don't know. It's not like she was just asleep, right? And it doesn't sound like it anyway. Okay, here we go. All right. Right? Olivia, I liked Olivia's impact statement. A lot of folks didn't care for it, but I don't care what they think, right? It's not their sister. Go bite one. Go bite one. If when it's your sister, come and talk to me. Otherwise, shut the fuck up and sit down. Okay, so this is a report for Corbin Smith, or from Corbin Smith, and he was one of the officers that arrived. And again, trigger warning, guys. I do need to refill my coffee. Uh-oh, I think the grandbaby just got his VR thingy recharged. Okay, this is additional responding officers were Gunderson, Snyder, Warner, and Nunez. Case number added to WG, and it says yes, evidence, and then, okay, so the narrative. On 11/13/22 at about 1200 hours, I responded to 1122 King Road in reference to a possible homicide or two possible homicide victims. Officer Nunez had arrived on scene and found a total of 4 deceased individuals. Officer Nunez informed other units he believed this to be a homicide. When I arrived, I entered the residence and went to the second floor. I observed a female wearing a sweatshirt and underwear laying in the middle of the bedroom floor, covered in blood. Remember, guys, when you enter on the first floor, you're entering down there where Bethany's room was. You have to go upstairs to the living room, to Xana's room, to the kitchen, and to Dylan's room. Third floor, Kaylee and Maddie's room. Bedrooms. The female was wearing a sweatshirt and underwear laying in the middle of the bedroom floor, covered in blood. I observed deep lacerations indicative of defensive wounds on the female's hands. The female was surrounded by blood on the floor. I observed a male laying on the bed. The male appeared to have suffered from stab wounds and a laceration to the neck. The male was covered in blood, and the bedding around him was soaked in blood. Remember the picture, guys, of the blood coming down the side from the Xana's room on the outside of the house? In a third floor bedroom, I observed 2 females laying in bed which appeared to have been stabbed to death. The female laying on the left half of the bed, as I looked at it from the doorway, was unrecognizable. We had heard that for such a long time, but it was never confirmed. Never that I didn't believe her dad, because he said this a long time ago. Her face was completely disfigured and was stabbed several times. That's hate. If your face is stabbed, like, dude, I was unable to comprehend exactly what I was looking at while trying to discern the nature of the injuries. Could you imagine being this department where you rarely have anything bad but a bunch of college kids drinking, doing some, low level drug activity, smoking their weed and shit? And you walk into this, and then well, not the whole world, but a large group of people want to come at you like you're just stupid ass cops. They got the wrong guy. The second female on the right half of the bed had multiple stab wounds. The comforter was soaked in blood, and a pool of blood was still present. I was assigned to hold security at the rear slider door. This was the alleged point of entry of the suspect. I observed very large footprints in the snow. Let me repeat that. I observed very large footprints in the snow. Now, the reason the world didn't know that before, because it was all freaking redacted and under seal. And for a year and a half, maybe two, all we heard from YouTube is they have no evidence, not even a footprint in the yard. I got pictures of them taking pictures of the footprint in the yard. Had them for almost 3 years. But okay. Failure to fairly evaluate the circumstances, maybe? I don't know. I was assigned to hold security at the rear slider. This was the alleged point of entry of the suspect. I observed very large footprints in the snow. I used a tape measure, and the shoe size measured approximately 13.5 to 14 inches. Now, my ex-husband wore 13.5. I swear to God, it grew to 14 by the time he was 23. It went up a whole fucking other shoe size. Expensive as hell to put shoes on this man's feet because he's so big. Got a special order of half the time from a Nike store because they don't even have them in stock. I'm like, damn. Ethan was that big. I don't know whose prints in the snow that was, but there was somebody's. I'm gonna jump out on a limb and say they were Coburgers. The footsteps went to and from the rear slider door. I observed the trail of footsteps head away from the slider, then turn right, around a stump in the backyard, and lead toward the front of the house. Now, if those are Coburger's prints, is there anything to Bethany seeing a guy running by? Did he strip off some of his clothes before he ran out half naked between King Road and the neighbor's house? Or did those footprints belong to somebody else? Hold on, guys. I'm refilling my coffee. All right. Thank you guys for chiming in, chat, and being a part of the conversation. That's what it's all about over here, coffee and crime and conversation. It was surreal reading some of this last night after the sentencing, that this case that for many of us on YouTube started it all. Our journey into true crime on social media. And now the conclusion. It's been a wild ride. So these prints came from away from the back slider, trail of footsteps, head away from the slider, then turn right around a stump in the backyard and lead toward the front of the house. I observed a set of small handprints on the window to the east of the slider. The screen to this window appeared damaged and was laying on the ground. I located smudged fingerprints on the glass slider, which you would expect a lot of that too. We see the photos of them back there dusting for all the fingerprints. There was a discarded black backpack in the yard. I photographed these items and attached them to the case. Now, was that a random backpack that one of the, neighbor, friend, whatever, just tossed out and there it was?
How many times do you see a random backpack laying out in the backyard?
Well, in a college town, when the people are partying and they're carrying, well, look, when the cops showed up at several of the parties at the King Road residence, they literally found black backpacks packed with truly whatever the shit they drink, all the things they drink, just stuffed in these backpacks, and they literally poured the shit out. And I don't know where the backpack. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know.
Right.
In a
No, I'm just
college
asking.
town,
I'm
it could
asking the
be,
question. Yeah.
yeah. So knowing that it's a college town, random backpack. I saw the cops taking beer out of random backpacks at that same location. Yeah, it could be nothing. But if it's Coburger's, he's stupid to throw his damn backpack down. But then again, he's not too bright in the heat of the moment, apparently. So yeah, it was a discarded black backpack in the backyard, and they photographed it and attached them to the case. Now they submitted it for all kinds of evidence, right?
Right.
Anything they could find on it.
So small handprints and the screen that was damaged and laying on the ground. So somebody tried to get in that window, but was it somebody with small handprints? Was it somebody that was just a college kid that was trying to get in the house? Was it one of the residents that got locked out?
Probably one of the girls if it was smaller hands. And the screen to Dylan's bedroom window was never on from the time we started looking at the house. We noticed right away Dylan's bedroom screen window was not attached to the window. It was on the back porch leaning against the house. Now, I'd have to go back and look at all the old pictures that I had to see if there were any other screens missing, but I think that was Dylan's screen. And we know from crime scene photos that we have gathered over the years, there was a handprint on the living room window. Now, remember, this house had 100 kids at a time in their party, and there's going to be handprints all over the place. Touch and transfer DNA everywhere floating around, right? So, when Ann Taylor come up with the alternate perpetrators because there's some unexplained DNA in the house. Honey, there's a bunch of unexplained DNA in that damn house, and you knew it. Those are just in close proximity to your crime scene, the bedrooms. Then again, obviously they didn't mean shit because the dude said, I did it. And I'll never accept that Koberger said, I did it because he knows he can't fight the state of Idaho. Miss me with that shit. The screen to this window appeared damaged and was laying on the ground. I located smudged fingerprints on the glass door. There was a discarded black backpack in the yard. Okay. I obtained rear security. I maintained rear security until I was relieved by Officer Warner. The only person to enter from this point was Captain Lanier. At that time, the captain was Lanier from the Moscow Police Department. Okay, so he certifies that his report is true. Did you get your delivery, Joe? Are you good to go?
Yes, I have my breakfast burrito.
You got your groceries?
And groceries, both.
There you go.
Okay, so as someone who is completely ignorant of this case from the beginning, I have not followed it. I have never read the PCA. What did we learn? What did we learn in this that is significant that we didn't learn in the PCA?
I ain't got that far yet. I can tell y'all the one thing about the PCA I know to be true. Everybody's like, this is the craziest PCA ever. It's disgusting. They have no evidence. Blah 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 blah. The only discrepancy in that whole PCA is them trying to tell us that they got turned onto that car because of WSU. They use that to cover up the IGG. That is the only thing in the PCA that wasn't appropriate, right? But as far as what we're learning compared to what was in the PCA, Joe, there's a little bit here and there so far, but nothing yet that stands out to me from what that first report. We're only on report one.
I meant particularly with this narrative that you just read.
No, I mean, the PCA says that he entered through the sliding glass door, went up the stairs to Maddie's bedroom, unalived Kaylee and Maddie. Then Xana and Ethan were both found in Xana's bedroom, female in the viewable from the door, which would be Xana laying in the floor. Ethan was on the bed. 2 roommates survived, called 911 8 hours later. So far, it's, nothing different than what the PCA was saying. And the PCA didn't go into great detail about how the bodies were found, what had happened to the bodies, and any of that. It didn't go into any detail about what those girls were doing for 8 hours. They left us to speculate for nearly 3 years. And were part of the reason those girls were drugged for as long as they were. So take responsibility, Idaho, for your mistake. And, well, we had to preserve Koberger's integrity and rights and fair trial, all blah, 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 blah. But we didn't need to be fair to the survivors? I'll say it again. The only one who didn't receive a fair trial was Richard Allen. Karen Reed got 1. She got 2. Koberger damn sure had 1 lined up. And he knew it. Y'all, I am feeling salty. Can you tell? That full moon must be approaching me again. That's what usually happens. I live by the moon. It is what it is. All right, let me get my report pulled back up here because it went away on me. Yeah, so far, Joe, there's nothing that's jumped out that at this point. Okay.
Did we know that there were defensive wounds
Well,
on the hands?
no, the PCA didn't talk about that, but it had been talked about. That kind of information was leaked out a little bit here and there. We had heard that Xana's fingers were almost severed, but that was not in the PCA. Like, a description of how these bodies were found and what was done to them was not in the PCA. And it states that Kaylee was asleep in Maddie's bed. That's all we knew at that point in time. Okay, so this one is going to be the supplemental report number 2. And this is from Officer Eric Warner. So Joy says Anne would have had half U of I students as alternate perps. I think she tried, right? She tried hard. She looked a little defeated sitting there yesterday.
Imagine if they had gone around DNA testing all of the male students.
Well, the ones closest to the victims did turn over DNA very early on in
Right.
this case. And people failed to mention that every time they talked about the shitty investigation and how the boyfriends were really the killers and all this shit. They had took those boys' DNAs from jump. I'm a cop. I'm taking your damn DNA when you approach a crime scene with dead victims and tell me you're one of them's boyfriend. Excuse me, we need to talk right now. How's the relationship going? You got to be a cop at all times when you're a cop. You can't just be like, oh, well, okay, go sit down with the rest of them. And they did that to Jack, Kaylee's boyfriend, because he walks up on the scene. He lives right there. His friends are like, wake up, something's bad happening. But people didn't want to talk about that for the longest time. Some of us did, and we got ridiculed for talking about it. Eric Warner, initial response, clearing home, interview with, and it looks like Hunter Johnson. And we all know now that Hunter Johnson was the one that made entry into Xana's bedroom and told everybody to get out, get out. He's Ethan's best friend. And if you watched the Amazon specials, you saw him. On 11/13/22 at approximately 11:58 hours, I responded to a report of an unconscious person at 1122 King Road. Now remember, guys, it was reported during the Amazon special that Hunter said, tell them there's an unconscious person. He didn't tell the girls, I just saw Xana covered in blood. He never said that to those kids. And I'm calling them kids because 18, 19, guess what? My boy is 18. He's a kid. Now, my 35-year-old is not a kid. He's a grown ass man. But my 18-year-old in my mind right now is still my kid.
Well, and that's what the parents and grandparents called them yesterday during the victim impact statements. They called them the kids.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what they still are to them.
you get closer to 21, I might consider you grown, baby. But right now, you delicate at 18, 19. You still transitioning, right? You need some guidance still.
I know if you're a guy, you got to be at least 25.
This is true. I got 2 boys, 2 girls, and that is true. I'm not going to argue with that one, Joe Schmo. Dispatch advised a female was passed out from intoxication and not waking up. Dispatch advised there was a male seen in the room with the female last night. A short time later, dispatch advised the female was not conscious and not breathing. I'm assuming the male they're talking about would have been Ethan, that Dylan didn't see a random guy walk out of the room. As I arrived, Officer Nunez advised over the air it appeared to be a homicide. I saw a small group of females outside the home in the parking lot. One female advised their roommate was on the second floor and needed help. I went to Officer Nunez's location at the west bedroom on the second floor and passed a male in the living room, later identified as, and it looks to be, Hunter Johnson. Officer Nunez advised the female and male in the bedroom had blood on them and appeared to be beyond help. I walked out of the bedroom toward Johnson and saw a clean steak knife on a beer pong table. The beer pong table was always in the living room, and you can see it through the window of some of the old photos that were taken by media with those big, powerful lenses right after the crimes. Beer pong table was in there, cups everywhere, bottles everywhere. Well, Hunter,
Why a steak knife?
Well, because we learned that Hunter came into the house, he finds Xana, and Dylan was already saying somebody was here at 4 a.m. or whatever. So he sees Xana, he runs to the kitchen and got the steak knife. Then he goes back in. He didn't know if there was still a perpetrator in the house. He didn't know what the hell was going on. So we knew that he had grabbed that knife. So the cops noticed the knife on the beer pong table. I pointed out the knife to Nunez. Johnson said he got the steak knife from the kitchen because he arrived and saw the female on the bedroom floor covered in blood and did not know if there was anyone else present in the room. Johnson said he checked the room with the knife for protection. Officer Nunez and I walked to the first floor entrance with Hunter. I asked the females and Hunter if there was anyone else in the apartment, and they did not know. So I'm assuming they were like, well, there could be 2 upstairs because they were here last night. Don't know if it's early, I don't know what's up with that statement. I told Officer Nunez the home, unless they thought the girls got up and left, Nunez, the home was not secure, and we started the process of clearing it. On the 3rd floor in the southeast bedroom, I saw 2 clothed females laying on a bed on their backs who appeared deceased. One female on the left side of the bed in relation to the bedroom had an extreme amount of lacerations to her face and upper body, which made her unrecognizable. That's why it took so long, and we've always known that. Well, some of us have always known that's why it took so long to confirm to the G's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon that Kaylee was gone, because they had a hard time identifying Kaylee. And they did it simply by elimination, right? And then they had to get it confirmed. The other female had multiple lacerations on her upper body and some blood on her face. I walked to the far side of the bed to determine if the female on the right was beyond help. I saw the female's leg was off the edge of the bed and it had lividity. Once I noticed the lividity in the female's leg, I backed out of the room. Officer Nunez and I checked the rest of the 3rd floor and saw it was clear. There was a poodle in the west bedroom on the bed, which was later taken to the Humane Society. So again, we still don't know yet, unless I see somewhere Kaylee was wearing an Apple Watch, that they can really tell where she was at that night prior. Because it's because some of us who are dog owners, it never made sense that the dog wasn't in the same room with Kaylee, unless she just happened to pass out on Maddie's bed because she was drunk and full from her carbonara. Tired of calling Jack. Let me lay here 5 minutes. I'll call him back in a minute, and she fell asleep. After clearing the home, I briefly interviewed, and it's a J. I don't know if that's Johnson. Johnson said yeah, that's Johnson. Johnson said he was at his apartment, and then it's redacted, and his girlfriend, which is Emily Alant, received a phone call from one of the girls who lived at 1122. Said Alant was called by one of the residents who said they could not wake the female on the floor. Johnson said he came over to the home at approximately 11:55 hours. So at 5 minutes before 911, Johnson said he saw the female on the floor in the bedroom and did not see the male on the bed, who he identified as Ethan, before grabbing the knife. Johnson said he entered the bedroom and checked the female's pulse and found none. Johnson said he did not check Ethan and left the home. I thanked Johnson for talking with me and told him he could go stand with Alant, who was with the other residents in front of the home. I stood by at the front door and started the crime scene log at 12:15 hours. Sergeant Gunderson relieved me for approximately 3 minutes so I could get my gloves during my time at the front door. At approximately 15:02 hours, I was relieved by Officer Rosinski, who took possession of the crime scene log and returned to the station. At approximately 15:28 hours, I came back to the scene and relieved Smith, who was standing at the rear sliding glass door, which was found open when officers arrived. I remained at the back door until I was relieved by Officer Nunez at approximately 16:28 hours. Then he certifies that his report is also true. And that was again from Eric Warner on scene.
So multiple lacerations to the face and to the upper body, so she's unrecognizable. I mean, and we're never going to understand, but what is a theory about why that? I mean,
Well,
because go ahead.
her sister yesterday, Olivia Gonzalez, when she was directing or addressing Koberger, she made the statement that she wanted to know what he took into that home and what was the second weapon he used on her sister. Second weapon. We'd always heard rumors there was 2 weapons involved when it came to Kaylee. And so we don't know if he turned the knife around and used the butt of the knife to punch her in the face with it. Did he have on brass knuckles and punch her? Her nose was broke. She had multiple fractures. He beat her in the face. Was it barehanded? Brass knuckles, the butt end of the knife? We don't know. I mean, the K-bar is pretty damn big. Do I want to turn it around where the blade is facing me while I'm using that butt end to... I don't know if I can wrap my head around that part of it, right?
I can't wrap my head around the motivation part of it. Like
Oh,
that
I
is
know.
a deeply violent, personal attack.
Very personal, full of hate and rage, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's not like walking into the room and slashing a neck. I mean, that's bad enough. Like, I always felt like, was that what happened with Maddie? Was she asleep and he just, done that, and that startled Kaylee, and then that fight ensued? But it sounds like he did more to Maddie than just go in and unalive her with one move, I should say. Trying to do
Right,
this delicately, guys. It's hard to do, but
which is what I always pictured it. Like everybody talks about, okay, he was studying criminology and trying to plan the perfect crime. That is not the act of somebody who's committing the perfect crime. It's
No,
a deeply
yeah,
personal attack, very violent and personal.
it's very violent. He there was a lot of violence and hate. You're not going to get that vicious and that violent without that amount of hate behind it. Because a lot of serial killers don't go in and do that. They're horrible. They'll do horrible things to people, but you know what I'm saying. To that extent, it makes it so. And the use of the knife. The experts will say that the use of the knife, makes it more personal, or the reason they would choose a knife. Then again, you think, well, it's also a lot more silent than a gun. You're going to hear gunshots, but they say a knife's just a very personal weapon to choose.
And then using it the way he did and alternating
Mm-hmm.
it with with punches or of some kind.
So,
Multiple slashes time after time after time and punches, and that
and
was just
fast. I mean, this had to be going down so fast because the timeline is so tight of the time he was in that home. The amount of time. What was it down to? I don't even know if it was full 12 minutes. I think there's been guesstimations 9, 10, 11, 12, depending on what time he walked through that backslider. And by my estimation, the last time you see that car come behind Queen Road is at 4:07. The lights go out at 4:08. He's still in the car at 4:08 a.m. Now he's got to get out and make entry to the home, and he speeds away at 4:20. So between 4:09 maybe and 4:19, he's in that house doing all of that. That fast. Does that make any damn sense, right? Apparently you can do it.
it was done, and he
It was
admitted to it.
done. He had damn sure did. And I don't have no reason not to believe him. Goodness, why is this doing that? What did I do different? Hold on, guys. Every time I take it down and I have to bring it back up, it wants to act a fool. Okay. Because I have to, there we go. So I have to be able to share the screen with you guys. And the way it was wanting me to pull it up, it won't do that. Now I got it. All right. So this is the supplemental report here from Mitch Nunez. And it's 11:13. Initial response interview search warrant application patio entry log, WatchGuard event. We'll get down to the narrative. Okay. On 11:13 at approximately 11:56 hours, I responded to an unconscious subject at 1122 King Road in Moscow. Upon my arrival, I found a large gathering of people in the parking lot. Let me make this. There we go. A large gathering of people in the parking lot immediately north of the 1122 King Road residence. 1122 King Road is a white 3-story single-family residence, multiple bedrooms. The 1122 designation is located directly above the front door, facing north. I was directed to a bedroom on the second floor by Hunter Johnson in the northwest corner to locate the unresponsive female. Upon entering the room, I observed a female laying supine on the floor next to a bed. According to Dylan Martinson, this female was likely, now here he gets it wrong, and I don't know why, but he's saying this is Kaylee, and it's actually Xana. And then later, when he describes upstairs, he's going to call Kaylee Xana. This is the only discrepancy I have found so far. So he says the female was likely Kaylee Gonzalez. Dylan also lived at 1122 King Road. I observed dry blood surrounding Kaylee's body and signs of cutting trauma to her face. Again, this is Xana he's describing. Kaylee / Xana was covered in so much blood I wasn't able to immediately discern where any additional injuries would likely be. She appeared deceased due to her pale skin, colored, rigid tone, and apparent blood loss. On the bed in the same room, I observed, he says Kaylee, but again it was Santa. I observed a male laying supine on the bed. According to Dylan, the male was likely Ethan Chapin. Dylan said Ethan was commonly at the residence. I observed blood covering portions of Ethan's legs, surrounding his body into the bed sheets, and drops of blood on the wall near Ethan's head. As I backed out of this room, Hunter showed me a kitchen knife and said he had it in his possession. I told Hunter to leave the knife and go back downstairs to the front entrance. Officer Warner and I moved visually clear the residence for any suspects or additional victims. On the third floor, Warner and I found two additional apparently deceased females laying both laying supine in a bed. This bedroom was on the southwest corner of the third floor. According to Dylan, those two females were likely Xana, again that's Kaylee, and Madison. One female showed apparent traumatic injury to her face due to the basic facial structure being unrecognizable. Both females showed very pale skin. Both females were covered in dried blood and apparently deceased. After the residence was deemed safe, Officer Warner and I exited the residence to secure it and the immediate area to include the parking lot immediately to the north side of the residence. I walked outside and began interviewing Dylan. Dylan told me approximately 4, this is going to be 4 a.m., she heard a voice scream and believed it to be Kaylee's. Dylan said she heard Kaylee scream and announce there's somebody inside the residence. I'm willing to say that was Xana. Dylan said she could hear Kaylee run from the third floor down the stairs to the second. I wonder if that was Koberger she heard running down the stairs into the northwest bedroom. Dylan said she locked herself in the bedroom and continued to hear a commotion. He ran down those stairs, and that's when he encountered Xana. I don't think Xana ever went up those stairs, unless they tell me differently later. Dylan said she eventually stopped hearing a struggle and heard a male voice say, "You're gonna be fine. I'm gonna help you." All right. The PCA always said Dylan heard what she thought was Kaylee playing with the dog. Then she heard a male voice say, "Don't worry, I'm here to help you." That's not what all you heard. Damn, that girl's probably in some deep ass therapy. She locked herself in her bedroom and continued to hear a commotion. She said eventually stopped hearing the struggle and heard the male voice say, "You're gonna be fine. I'm gonna help you." You sick fucking bastard. She said she did not recognize the male's voice. So it didn't sound like Ethan, the only other guy you knew was in the home that night? God, this is so difficult to... Dylan said after a few minutes, she peeked out of her bedroom and observed a male described as approximately 6 feet tall, slim build, with a black ski mask leave the second floor patio area. This patio door is likely left open as it was found open upon arrival. I guess there's a chance she thought he was a random friend that just said, "You're going to be fine." He says, "You're going to be fine. I'm here to help you." God.
Do you think she's used to hearing commotions at a party house? Or she's
Yeah,
not
but
used to hearing, or she's not used to hearing commotions at 4 a.m. and that's why she was terrified.
well, here's the thing about both girls. They're allegedly, by their own accounts and their friends, big old chicken shits, scaredy cats of everything. Hear a noise, let's call somebody. Dylan hears the pan fall in the kitchen. "Come over and bring your boyfriend. I heard a noise." So this particular night, The little boys who cried wolf decided we don't want to get made fun of again for hearing shit, exaggerating shit, and here we are, is allegedly what happened. And my gut tells me that's exactly what happened. But don't make it easy to process. You know what I'm saying? This is why I went to my 18-year-old at the time. He was barely 17, or maybe he might have been 16 still. I'm like, dude, if this ever happens, don't fail to act. Call me. Call 911. Call me. Jesus. Because when I brought this to him and told him about this, and I said there was this 8-hour gap, his first question was, did she do it? I was like, seriously? He's like, yeah. I was like, I don't know yet. But I know she didn't. She just was flaky and drunk. I interviewed an additional roommate, Bethany Funk, who told me she was at the residence during the commotion. Bethany said she was on the second floor in the living room watching Vampire Diaries with Dylan. And an unidentified person named L. Okay, because they were watching TV with somebody else. Bethany said at approximately 2 on the 13th, Madison and Kaylee came home from a night out on the corner club. So, because we never heard a lot of information about where Dylan and Bethany spent the night, except that Bethany was at the frat party. Sorry, loud truck passed, windows open a little bit. We knew where the girls were, Kaylee and Maddie, corner club, grub truck. Knew that with hands down without a doubt. We have the videos. Then the police came out and said anybody with any whereabouts or information on Ethan and Xana. This went on for days. Any information about Ethan and Xana's whereabouts, please contact us and let us know. And we're like, why the fuck can't you find them? Because you got video of Kaylee and Maddie all over town that night, but you got none of Ethan and Xana. No friends saw them beyond 9 p.m. Why are you asking everybody to give you information about where these two were? They were apparently at the frat party the whole time until about 2 in the morning. And I don't understand why the cops kept asking to help if that would be easily proven, right? So Bethany was allegedly there as well. So apparently she comes home before 2 a.m. Dylan's there. They watch Vampire Diaries together with this redacted person. Then Kaylee and Maddie get home from the night out at the corner club. And the corner club was the local bar the girls were at after the football game and before they went to the grub truck. Bethany said she also believed Madison and Kaylee went to the grub wandering kitchen truck that was commonly located in 300 block of South Main Street. Bethany said she and Madison let Madison's dog out. That would be Kaylee's dog. So Bethany said she and Madison let Madison's dog out. So I wonder if it was her and Kaylee let the dog out between 2 and 2:30. Bethany said during this time she observed no suspicious activity. Remember when Kaylee's sister Olivia says, we can see the girls come home? Meaning when they got dropped off from the grub truck. Then she said, we can see them walking the dog. And I thought, how do you see them walking the dog unless they walk down past 112 toward Jack's? Same car that catches the white Elantra speeding away and coming and going. All that business. That camera. So I guess the girls walked that way. Murphy's like, hey, my daddy lives right there. I'm going to see him. Kaylee being a girl trying to reach this man all night. Of course she's down there spying on his ass. Is he home yet? Is his car there? Come on. So they walk Murphy. Bethany said she went to bed around 2:30. Bethany and Madison came into her bedroom. Bethany said Maddie came into her bedroom sometime after 2:30 to ask if she knew where Murphy was. Bethany said she told Maddie no, and Maddie left. Bethany said she woke up in her bedroom. So did they take Murphy out and forgot him and went back in or something? Or did he slip back out? Says she woke up in her bedroom, which is located on the first floor, to a sound she described as a firecracker and a flash. Bethany said she initially thought the sound was a prank. I wonder what that was. What do you guys think? Dill, who let the dogs out?
Is she the only one to hear that firecracker and see the flash?
We've not heard of a firecracker noise and a flash before. That don't sound like a knife wielding thing happening.
Does not.
But if she's in her bedroom on the first floor and she hears this firecracker type sound and she sees a flash, she has a very large window that is right there at the front of the home. It oversees the entire parking lot where the cars park and the front and the road there, King Road. So was there a flash outside her window that she saw? Could be totally unrelated. Could be a kid with a firecracker. Or a distraction. Hell, I don't know what it was. According to Bethany, phone log she showed me, Bethany called Xana at 4:21. Now, we saw that in the document drops back during the motion in Lemonies, and the car sped away at 4:20. I bet she heard that car speed away as well. I would. My window's right there, and I can hear a bang. I'm going to hear that car get on it and speed away because dude was taking off. I saw the video too. But she calls Xana within 1 minute of that. And then she calls Ethan at 4:22, Maddie at 4:22, Maddie again at 4:30, and then Kaylee at 4:31. And she never received an answer on each phone call. Bethany said she went back to sleep and woke up around 11:56 when 911 was called. Initially, I was told Kaylee was likely located on the second floor bedroom with Ethan. After comparing Dylan's initial statement with other officers' observations, it appeared to actually be Xana that was located. Okay, he got it right finally. He realized the mistake. I also observed the following because Ann Taylor would have seen that. She'd be like, "Excuse me, this is a bad report. I got all your training records now because you don't know what you're doing." Then he acknowledges it in his report, and once she read that, she's like, "Oh, darn. Can't use that." Initially, I was told Kaylee was likely located. Okay, he squares it away. I observed the following vehicles in the gravel parking lot immediately north of the 1122 building. Silver 2015 Land Rover Range Rover with Washington license plate. Kaylee just bought the car, days before? She got her new job. She was graduating early. She got her sign-on bonus, the whole 9 yards. Treated herself to a used Land Rover. And boy, the people of the internet broke when they found out this girl owned a Range Rover. How could she afford it? She's got to be on the OnlyFans, blah, blah, blah. It was a 2015, you dumbasses. It was registered to, and it's redacted. Blue 2010 Honda Civic with Arizona plates. That was Xana's. The white Chevy Cruze was Maddie's. The Jeep Wrangler belonged to Ethan. Now the black Explorer that belonged to Ethan's sister, because Stacy Chapin always said when the triplets went to college, they bought the boys a red Jeep Wrangler to share. Maisie got her car, which was the Explorer. She got her a different car. And that's how the kids went to college. I was originally assigned to identify all the people in the area. However, when the reason Maisie's car, the Explorer, was part of it, because when she got the call, she drove down there and she pulls right up into the parking pad right behind Ethan's Jeep. And immediately her vehicle became part of the crime scene. And then Stacy Chapin comes back and tells you when she speaks years ago how they took all their vehicles, right? I was originally assigned to identify all the people in the area. However, I was reassigned by Sergeant Gunderson to begin the search warrant application process. I provided the above information in the search warrant application. At approximately 16:28 hours, I returned to 1122 King Road to assist with securing the southwest patio entrance. I took responsibility from Officer Warner in documenting who entered and exited the residence. I provided this documentation on a notepad and maintained the log until I was relieved by Officer Morris at approximately 1750 hours. The following information is the rear patio entry log. Yeah, if they had called 911 before the 8 hours, Woozy, it wouldn't have done any good as far as saving lives. That they were done the minute he attacked them, shortly after. It's just have a conversation with your kids out there about the ways of the world and not to be naive, not to cry wolf. Just call me. If you can't muster up the courage to call anybody else, call me. Jesus. You know what I mean? Should be a learning experience, if nothing else, a takeaway. I was originally assigned to identify all of the people in the area. However, I was reassigned. Okay, we got to that part. Because trust me, if I was the parents of those roommates, I would be so protective of my kids, it wouldn't even be funny. But at the same time, I want to make sure they get all the help they need for survivor's guilt and all that that's going to come along. And we saw that with Dylan when she testified or gave her impact statement, right? We saw the emotional toll it's took on her. And that girl was absolutely drugged on social media for the longest time, and it's not going to let up anytime soon. So I'm not trying to trash her. It's just, you know, it is what it is. It's not cool. Officer and true crime ain't pretty, y'all. Sometimes you can't sugarcoat it. Smith recording entry, and then it goes through that process, and then he certifies that his report is also true. They report now the patio door was locked and sealed. So the way they did that was they had to put those bar stools up. We were all like noticing those bar stools. We're like, what's up with these bar stools in these pictures? And apparently that back door didn't lock correctly. Or they put the bar stools there for extra security. I don't know. They put the bar stools from the inside of the home wedged in there so nobody could open that slider. True crime is a different beast. We talk about unpleasant things all the time, don't we? And it ain't always pretty. Real life is super messy, guys. Damn it, again. I just don't understand why it wants me to do it this way every single time. Joe, this is aggravating sometimes, isn't it? Trying to control all this shit.
I never have any tech issues, never.
No, never. Not Joe. I'm always sitting there laughing when you do, because I'm like, I feel you, dude. I feel your pain right now. I feel it. All right. All right, so here we go with the next one. We're going to be here for a little bit longer, guys. Like I said, I'm going to wrap it up eventually, and then I'm going to go over and join Joe for a little while on his channel, and we'll pick back up wherever I leave off. And then we'll be back tomorrow with Lori Vallow's sentencing. Joe's going to be boots on the ground, so we'll follow his Twitter updates and such. We'll watch that live as well. Depending on our time, because I don't know how long that's going to last, probably not too terribly long, we'll go back into some more of this filing as well, and we'll probably do some weekend shows to get this through, because I really want to dive into the Delphi stuff next, Joe. I can't not do that, right? So that's still on our docket, on our books. Okay, damn it, it did it again where I can't share my screen. Holy shit. I don't know why it keeps doing that every time. Joe, this is the same issue you were having. So irritating. And when I do it the same each and every time, it should work. It pulls up the documents, guys, but it won't give me my option to share the screen, so I have to mess with it because it's apparently wanting to mess with me. Whoa.
The frustrating part about StreamYard with me was the fact that it used to be one way, and now all of a sudden, instead of just one click, you're sharing it takes two. Makes no sense.
Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. Yeah, I'm not even using StreamYard. Damn it. Every time. All right, I gotta go get the right document, guys, that we were supposed to be looking at. I went and got the wrong one. It's the way it wants you to share it, to view it, and then it doesn't work. It's not, for some reason, it won't let me share the screen sometimes. I'm like, they don't want to just hear me read it. They maybe, but they might like to see it. Okay, let me try it again. This is the kind of shit that keeps us here all day. Okay, we are at this one. All right, now we're cooking with Crisco again. All right. Now, so this is Ryan Snyder. Hawkeye says StreamYard is my most expensive part of the channel. Yeah, I don't use StreamYard anymore. I haven't used it in so long. I was forced to once during Karen Reed because Restream went completely down and I had to run do the backup, and I almost forgot how to use the StreamYard. I'm okay with the Restream. This hasn't bothered me so far. All right. I can do everything I can do on the StreamYard. I don't hear my grandchild. I need to probably go check. It's like way too quiet. I'm nervous. Y'all hold on. I'll be right back. Joe, talk to the people.
Yeah.
Joe, talk to the people.
When they're yelling and screaming, they're just fine. When they're quiet, you gotta worry. It's like when they're sick. Oh man.
Okay, that baby's asleep. Lord. He got up early this morning when his daddy was getting ready for work about 6. I heard them both awake. I was like, that child's awake already? He's getting back on his school schedule. Okay. So this is Officer Ryan Snyder. His initial response and canvas interviews. Evidence, photos burned to a CD and booked into evidence. Thank you guys for being patient. I appreciate y'all, but y'all know it's all real life and we just real here on the YouTubes, aren't we? I'm not all perfect and polished like those mainstream media folks. That's why they're all running to YouTube. They can come over here and be all relaxed and be cool like us. We don't worry about all that drama shit. All right. So on 11/13/2022 at about 1200 hours, I responded to 1122 King Road for the report of an unresponsive subject. Upon my arrival, I noticed there were several college-age subjects out front of the residence. I was directed to use police caution tape to cordon off the crime scene. As I was working around the residence, I noticed the back door was open and there were footprints in the snow coming from the back door on the back porch. Officer Smith took photos of these prints with a measuring tape. He watched the backyard area to make sure no one else came in to the area. Got a picture of them in the backyard taking a photo of those footprints. And again, don't know how relevant they are. I noticed there were I'm willing to say they were pretty relevant. I noticed there were a few footprints that left toward the west of the backyard. This portion of the backyard is connected to the other residence. 1118 King Road, and 1126. Those are the two blue ones that sit right back behind 1112, both directly to the west. The footprints appear to lead west toward King Road, between the residents, but I was unable to see where the footprints went after the yards connected due to the amount of rock landscaping. And that side of the house does have a lot of rock landscaping. I also was unable to discern how old these prints were. They had not been recent. There had not been recent snowfall. Sergeant Gunderson and I entered the residence to continue taking photos of the scene. I entered through the bottom floor main door of the north side. I took photographs of the rooms and living areas of the residence. The photos were downloaded onto a CD and booked into evidence. The photos were labeled in this report and a brief description of each photo. As I was down the road of the address near the King Road and Queen Road intersection, and that's where the camera at 1122 faces, or 1112, sorry. I was approached by a college-aged male who identified himself as, and I believe that is Jack. Jack Decor, Kaylee's boyfriend, lived at the end of King Road and Queen Road right there. And you could see it clearly from the road, from 1112. It was all right there. He informed me he lived at redacted King Road apartment. He stated his ex, Kaylee, lived upstairs at 1122 King Road, and they share a dog, and that was there, and the dog was currently there. Jack did not appear to have obvious wounds on his hands, as I would assume the suspect possibly would. After what you just saw in that house, you might imagine that there would, right? Officer Nunez was interviewing subjects about the situation. I asked Jack if he would wait inside Nunez's police car so we could talk with him. He agreed to. Oh, sorry, I thought that thing was off. My sister. She'll keep. It's important. She'll call right back.
Yeah, she'll keep calling you.
She will too. She'll blow me up. She's like, it's that 911 shit. I'm like, is it really that serious? You never know her. He didn't hear. Okay, so I informed Gunderson of the circumstances involving Jack. Jack later responded to the police department to be interviewed and then picked up the dog from the Moscow Humane Society shelter. And Jack has Murphy to this day. If only Murphy could talk. I continued to canvass the area and speak with neighbors, and it's redacted, at Queen Road, who stated they did not hear or see anything relevant. I spoke with subjects at King Road. One resident, it's redacted, DL it looks like, stated she was walking home from the corner club at 3, so that'd be around 3 a.m., and thought she could hear music or some type of noise, but she couldn't give any clarifying information more than that due to her level of intoxication that night. That's it. Would probably be common to hear music walking home like that. Maybe at that time of the morning in that little party central. I spoke with subjects at King Road. The majority of them stated they were out drinking at the corner club and got a ride back to their place at 1:30 and went to sleep around 2. They did not hear anything out of the ordinary. King Road residents, redacted, stated at 4 he heard a dog barking coming from the east of his residence. He believed it was the dog at 1122. Now, we heard in the PCA there's a camera 50 feet from the home that picks up a loud thud and dog barking. That would be the camera at 1112. We never knew if it was really Murphy or an outside dog somewhere. He stated the dog sounded like it was outside and was barking about 45 minutes until he believed someone must have let him in at 4:45 when it stopped. Do you think there's a chance that they let Murphy out that night and the little dude ran off? He's a puppy. And Kaylee passed out before how he got back in the house somehow. Well, Koberger left the door open when he went out. Did Murphy run back in and Maddie's door was shut and Kaylee's was open, so he went to what he knew, the bed? Did Koberger get lucky and this fucking dog was running around the neighborhood all night long? I don't know. He stated the dog sounded like it was outside and barking for about 45 minutes till he believed someone let him in around 4:45 when it stopped. He stated he had a female with him in bed at the time who also heard the dog barking at this time. Well, I raise pit bulls, Carrie. You come up at me, my dog will eat you up. I can't with them little dude dogs that may not protect me. I'm gonna have me a dog. I'm gonna have me a dog. It's got to do his job. They're cute and all, but no thank you. I spoke with the residents at King Road. Another redacted name informed me they had a camera facing the west of the address and they believed captures a portion of the road. They first provided me with the SIM card out of the camera. However, they could not get it to work and neither could I. They gave me the username and the password to the camera. I informed Detective Mowry of the information and they gave me permission to access the camera footage and record the necessary surveillance videos. He cleared the scene at 17:49. And this is a log of the photos 1 through 19. Key on retaining wall north of 1122 parking lot, 1122 front of address, and it just goes through the photos of the cars, different photos of around the house, the back seat of redacted, driver's side of redacted. So they're photographing the cars inside and out. They get the back seats, the VIN numbers, all the information from these cars, the Range Rover Evoque, the Honda, all that's in there. North side front door entryway photos. So they go through and list all of the photos they were taken inside of there. We'll just go down. Kitchen stove, kitchen table, kitchen sink, closets, living rooms, the pong table, the knife, pong table blood, second floor living room, pong table blood. Whose blood? Was it Xana's? Was she attacked in the living room first when she ran because she saw him coming down the stairs with a big ass knife? Don't worry, I'm here to help you bullshit. Or was that one of the unknowns they could never identify? Somebody got drunk and cut themselves that night. The knife that Hunter had out there, I'm assuming. Kitchen window face mark. Kitchen window right hand print. Kitchen window left hand print. Kitchen window handprints. Ground outside kitchen window. Do you think people were just walking up and putting their hands, like, I'm going to scare you in the kitchen and put their hands up on the glass? I don't know. Window sill, window screen, the stairwells to the third floor, the landing, the bedrooms, the bedroom dog kennel. So Kaylee had a dog kennel in the bedroom. I always wondered that. The bedroom desk, the dresser. This is the west bedrooms that all had to be Kaylee's. Landing facing east, the bathroom and more of the bedrooms. Southeast is Maddie's, the bed, 2 female victims. Above the bed, oh man. The door, blood cast off, and the door, blood cast off. So the door was open or shut. It's a big old cutout of Maddie's wall. Third floor southeast bedroom, and again they just list all of the north wall cast off, the desk. Maddie had that little desk in her room, guys. And again, more on the vehicles. All the photos of there, and then they certify that that is true. And that was it. Number 4. Lordy, there's like 50 of these to move through. Some of them are repetitive, but we'll get through what we can. Joe, what time are you scheduled to go live?
I have it scheduled for 50 minutes from now, right now.
Okay.
So 12:30 Eastern.
Okay.
And a lot of these, all the way till you get down to the coroner's report, most of them are just police reports about their investigation. Some of them have more interesting information, some have less.
Exactly. And there are some that with some interesting information in them. For me, because I know so much about the case, I think that some things I might find interesting may, you know what I mean? I don't know. I started reviewing a lot of it last night. Like I said, I had to put it all down because yesterday was a lot, and I just, after almost 3 years of covering this case and watching how it all unfolded social media wise, and how this is the most bizarre case I've ever seen, with the way it was handled and drugged, all the people and doxing and all the horrible things that were happening with this case. And it just seems so real yesterday to have it all conclude, and watching those families speak, and it was just a lot to take in, and I just had to put it all down. But yeah, I read through some of it and then just stopped. But there was
There's
some
just so
interesting
much.
things.
There is so much.
There's a lot, and it's going to take a minute to unpack it all, and it's okay. We're here for it. Okay, let me hope this doesn't act all crazy again. And it did. See, you guys can't even see that, and it doesn't live. It covers up my restream screen, then it won't let me even access my share screen. So hold on. I don't know why I go through the same step 3 different times before it actually works. It makes no damn sense. All right. I have to be patient and let it finish uploading, basically. That's what I have figured out. I just got to be patient. Okay. So this is from Detective Dollinger. I actually need to go grab a Coke. This coffee is... I've had so much coffee this morning. It's not even funny.
Oh man, I got to the Airbnb and they have a coffee maker, but they have freaking Folgers. I'm like, I should have brought my own damn ground coffee.
Oh, if I have to go somewhere, I'm gonna take my coffee.
Yeah,
You don't ever
and
know, right?
I have bags and bags of it at the house, and I just
Uh-oh.
didn't think to pack one of them.
Goodness, you can't go wrong with a Waffle House coffee. You got one of them nearby?
No,
Here in the
not
South, we
until-
live by that damn Waffle House coffee, man. It's crazy. Okay. I didn't feel good for those 2 days, and when I don't feel good, I can't drink coffee, and I miss it. Like I wanted my coffee so bad, so I feel like I'm making up for those 2 days I missed it. Okay, so this is on November 13th, 2022 at approximately 12:53 hours. I arrived on scene at King Road, and this is when, okay, so it was Parents Weekend at WSU. And Xana's dad had been in town at WSU because her sister Jasmine attended WSU. So Jeff had been in town and then headed back out to go back home once he had was done visiting his daughter Jasmine, and he had seen Xana and talked to her. Well, I think Xana actually went over to Washington and spent a little bit of time with her dad and sister there, like they went to eat or something. So he heads home. Jasmine gets the phone call from friends, Xana's, something's terrible is happening at 1122. She hangs up and calls her dad. He turns around and frantically heads back to Moscow. So he gets there while the cops are still there. And I'm going to go get a drink. I'm sorry. Joe, if you want to read that for a minute until I get back, can you see it? Do you mind?
No,
Okay.
not at all. From the top?
Yeah. That's cool.
Sure.
Thanks.
On November 13th, 2022, at approximately 12:53 hours, I arrived on scene at 1122 King Road and spoke with Sergeant Gunderson and Sergeant Lawrence, who gave me a brief overview of the information gathered at that time. Sergeant Lawrence informed me the Idaho State Police were going to assist in the investigation and were organizing to respond to the scene. Sergeant Lawrence responded to the police department to begin interviews. I remained on scene on the perimeter awaiting further information. Approximately 1 hour later, a male approached the scene and began speaking with Sergeant Gunderson. The male was identified as...
That's going to be Jeff Kernodle, Xana's dad.
Oh, gosh.
Mm-hmm.
You shrunk it down so I can't see the right side of the lines.
Oh, sorry. I was going to mute so you don't hear my Coke pop open, but it's okay. I had to move that out of my way. There we go. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
Overheard.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Him state his daughter lived in the 1122 King Road and he had been trying to get in touch with her but was unsuccessful. It was also learned his daughter
Jasmine
was nearby the scene. I asked him if he and Jasmine could come to the police department to speak with me. He agreed, and I returned to the police department. I contacted Sergeant Lawrence at the police department, so they're getting ready to give notification.
Mm-hmm.
And asked if he had the names of the victims. Sergeant Lawrence stated he did and gave me the list. I saw one of the victims' names was Xana, and I then met with him and Jasmine in the interview room off of the police department lobby. Once in the room, I activated the audio and video recording equipment. Oh gosh, no.
Mm-hmm.
I will never forget when the Tippecanoe County Sheriff's Department gave death notification to me at work, and I'm glad it wasn't recorded.
Right. I mean, and Jasmine was at WSU, so she was literally 10 to 12 minutes away from Xana's house. So she got there probably well before her dad. I don't know how far out of town Jeff was before he turned around and headed back. It wasn't too far. So they're both there before any other family members are there, and to have that recorded, that don't need to come out. It's very personal, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't want to see their reaction ever.
No, I don't need to hear it either.
I want to hear that. I want to hear their victim impact statements from yesterday. That's what I want to have in my mind.
Oh, you didn't get to hear all that?
Not all of it. No, I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
If I had a choice between one or the other, what I heard yesterday is what I want to remember.
Yes, exactly. So, they activate the video recording. He asked Jeff and Jasmine for their information, and they both handed me their Arizona driver's license because that's where they were from originally.
We're in Arizona.
Shit, you had to ask me, and I know too. Guys, help me out in chat. Where Post Falls? No.
Post Falls is Idaho.
Idaho. That's Idaho. She had connections to Post Falls, and there was in Arizona. I forget exactly which town they lived in. Her dad's still there, and that's where they were living when the girls went to college, because they were both in college. But I can't remember right offhand where in Arizona. It's going to be close to Idaho, though. You know what I'm saying? After writing down their information, I asked Jeff what the name of his daughter was. Jeff told me her name was Xana. I then informed Jeff and Jasmine that Xana was identified as one of the victims and that she was deceased. Both Jeff and Jasmine became very upset and were crying heavily. I asked Jeff and Jasmine when the last time they communicated with Xana was. Jasmine stated she texted with Xana on 11/11/22 at approximately 1700 hours. Jeff said the text messages were, or Jasmine said the messages were brief and were not of any substance. I don't know if that's Jasmine, I'm assuming. Jeff said he texted Xana on 11/11 at around 1540 hours, and she responded, stated she was at work. Jeff told me he last spoke with Xana on the phone at 11/11. Now, the crimes were like 11:13, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. At approximately 2140 hours, and on the 12th, they were all busy prepping for the big football game and pre-gaming. So that would be the day before. I asked Jeff where Xana worked, and he said at the Mad Greek. I asked both Jeff and Jasmine if Xana had mentioned anything about having any issues with anyone or anything strange occurring lately. They both said Xana had not said anything. Jasmine said Xana had a boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, or it says Chapman, but it was Chapin. She said he had been dating, who she had been dating for about 6 months or so. Jasmine said everything seemed fine with their relationship, and Jasmine added Jeff added, how he met Ethan's parents in passing this weekend. Oh, there you go, Avondale Joe. It should be noted, Jeff was in town visiting. He resides in Avondale, Arizona. Now, so that weekend was Parents' Weekend. We also knew that the Chapins had been in town that weekend as well. So I guess at some point on the 11th or a day or two prior, they got together with Xana's dad was able to meet Ethan's parents. So
Jasmine went to WSU. Was that also Parents Weekend there? Like, was it at both?
it was actually Parents' Weekend at WSU, yeah.
Was it at U of I also?
I don't remember if it was technically or not. I was always under the understanding it wasn't, but maybe it was. Maybe that's why the Chapins were there. I forget what they were actually there for. It could have been Parents' Weekend at both. You know what I'm saying? WSU Mom Kim said it was WSU Parent Weekend, but that heifer can go out to pasture. I don't remember, but yeah, it was WSU Parents Weekend. I know that because see, Arizona, and it was Washington State University's Parents Weekend. I asked Jasmine and Jeff if there was anyone they wished me to contact for them, or if they wished to speak with anyone, such as a member of clergy. They both told me no. I gave them both my business card and informed our detectives would be in contact with them in the near future. Jasmine and Jeff then left the police department. Video and audio recording of the interview is attached to the case. And then he certifies that that is a true report. That's rough.
That was a home game that weekend for U of I also.
U of I. And they all pre-gamed. They all had, pre-parties they were doing and whatnot. And then the game happened. And then actually Ethan took his sister to her formal dance. And that I think he left there at like 9 and met Xana over at the frat house to party all night. And I know that the girls went to the football game, but after the game they would go to the corner club and all that. So I don't know how long they all actually stayed at the football game. We don't know how long they were actually there, if they stayed the whole time, whatever. And then went out afterwards. I was just catching up with chat, guys, making sure I wasn't missing anything. You don't have no Waffle Houses. Oh no. No awful waffle. We wouldn't know how to get along down in the South without some damn hash browns and Waffle House coffee. Look, when hurricane comes and the power goes out, you can bet your ass you're gonna find you a Waffle House open. We're like, where's the Waffle House? Okay. Maybe patient, let it upload this time. Maybe that's the secret to this. It's taking its sweet time. Miss Woozy, you've never been to a Waffle House? Oh my goodness. Okay, we are on number 6 now. And it worked. Lo and behold, I might have found the secret sauce. Alrighty. So this was a report by Aaron Morris, and it's just going over scene security, I believe. So let's just take a look. It's like a 2-pager. So he responds at 1300 hours. He was advised by Corporal Barrett or Captain Barrett to respond to work due to a homicide investigation. Told to remain available for calls for service. At around 1630, I relieved Officer Rosinski on the north side of King Road. I was stationed for the scene security and helped keep a log of who entered and exited the crime scene. Officer Smith entered at 1700 hours and exited at 1725. Talbot entered at 1700 and left at 1740, and then it just goes through what times these cops entered and exited the house. And then he was relieved by Officer Strike on the north side of the residence. I went to the south side to relieve Officer Nunez around 1800 hours. I stood at the rear of the residence to scene security, assisted Blaker in putting evidence tape on the sliding glass door on the south side of the residence. The tape was to ensure no persons tried to access the scene overnight. I returned to the north side of the residence for the remainder of the night. Once ISP investigators made their final walk through, the residence was secured at 2344 hours. Officer Rosendahl relieved me, and I was cleared. Oh, Rosenthal, you done caught hell on the internet, too. People accused you. Okay, so that was the end of that one.
I just found out they didn't leave me any coffee filters here.
Oh, shit. I
Yeah.
had that problem yesterday, Joe. I went to make a pot of coffee. I was like, oh my God. I let myself run out of coffee filter. It was not good. Yeah, I had to go to the Dollar General to get damn coffee filters. Thank God I got a store like that by my house, the only
Right?
store near me. It is
And
the
I
only
just
that's
just
all I
had the
got.
groceries delivered. I could have just added
Oh no. You did
filters.
just get a delivery.
Ah,
I need one of those coffee pots that don't require the filter. My son bought me this one and he didn't know. So, I've been rolling with it for about 2 years now, but it requires filters. My old one didn't. But yeah, thank God I have a Dollar General in the corner because it's the only thing I have besides the gas station.
I like the ones with the permanent filters that are like made out of like the gold metal. You just got to rinse them out and put them back in.
Exactly. That's what I'm used to having, but that's not what I got right now. Now, damn it, man, that sucks. You got to run, go get them or reorder them. It's up to you.
In the meantime, I got to figure out an option. Do I put like a dirty sock in there?
No, do you have paper towels?
Yes.
Make you one out of paper towel.
There you go.
You cut it, it'll fit. You put it in there carefully. Make sure it's to the sides. Trust me, I know. Okay, and then you put your coffee in, but you can make sure it's stuck to the sides. That shit'll fall over and grounds will be all up in your shit. You can do it, Joe.
I got this.
You got this. Coffee problem solved. Look, I don't mess with the coffee. I'm gonna fix it. Okay. Oh, darn it. tried to sneak attack it, and it's like, no, not today. Go back and do the funkiness you've been having to do. All right. Shit. Does an Airbnb usually have the coffee filters available? I've never been to an Airbnb. I don't know what to expect.
They all vary. It's like going to different in-laws for, or different family members for different
Different
occasions.
in-laws. I'm about to say, how many in-laws you got, dude?
I still have some actually. I mean, technically they're ex-in-laws, but they're still family.
Yeah. All right.
Some of them, not all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I
I'm not.
still got I have an ex sister-in-law I still consider a sister-in-law, and my mother-in-law was my mother-in-law until the day she passed, right? I mean, that was my kid's grandma. She was an excellent mother-in-law. I had no beef with my mother-in-law. I don't let society dictate how my life's supposed to be. I'm not supposed to grow up and get married and hate my husband's mother. What's wrong with society? I'm gonna try to get along with this lady. We ended up loving each
I
other.
wasn't trying to. It just happened naturally.
Yeah. I mean, it was
But
fine. I didn't have a bad mother-in-law though, so I didn't have that bad experience. I understand people
my
do.
father-in-law was one of my best friends, though, until
Right?
the day he passed. He was.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't say anything bad about my ex-mother-in-law. Not one thing. Okay, so this is a report by Detective John Lawrence, and he was assembling the team of investigators. Basically, they're going through the motions here. They get a phone call at 1200 hours from Captain Barrett. He called to inform me that there had been multiple victims of a homicide at King Road and requested all available detectives. Detective Vargas was informed she was out of town and will be back on Monday morning. He called Detective Mowry, and because Mowry was out of town too, and informed he would be back on his way shortly. I called ISP Lieutenant Mooney and told him I need assistance from ISP detectives in processing the crime scene. Lieutenant Mooney put me in contact with Sergeant Gilbertson. I briefed Gilbertson on what I knew and told him we would start to assemble his team, or he would start to assemble his team. I responded to the scene and I met with Sergeant Gunderson. Gunderson informed me the officers were dispatched to an unconscious person at 1122 King Road, and it was when they found 4 deceased college age people in the residence. I told Gunderson I needed someone from his team to return the police to the police department to start writing an affidavit for a search warrant. Gunderson asked Officer Noonans to handle that risk or that task. I don't know why I said risk. I then did a very brief walkthrough of the residence. I entered the residence from the entrance of the north side of the building. Officer Warner, who was securing the scene, logged my entrance into the residence. I then went up the stairs and located deceased female on the floor and male in the bed in the west bedroom on the second floor. I climbed the stairs to the third floor and located 2 deceased females on the southeast bedroom in the southeast bedroom. They were both in the bed. I spoke with Officer Smith, who was securing the residence at the south entrance, for a moment. Then I exited the residence through the north entrance. He called Gilbertson, informed him of the additional information provided to me and what I had seen. I told him MPD would be needing their assistance. I also told Gilbertson MPD had an officer writing an affidavit for search warrant. I returned to the police department where I met with Sergeant Blaker and Corporal Payne. They each had their affidavits and PCA, whom I called earlier and requested they respond to the PD. At this time, Mowry was at the police department. I requested they interview the other occupants of the residence where the deceased were located. They were also several friends of the deceased who had been with the deceased the night before and may have had information of their whereabouts, and who they were with prior to the murders. Those interviews started at about 13:48 hours. And those to be interviewed arrived at the police department about 13:30. I put them in the training room and provided them with drinks and snacks. Captain Lanier arrived and asked me how he could help. I requested he find officers that were not already tasked and complete a canvass of the neighborhood. Captain Lanier took care of the neighborhood canvassing. So when those officers picked up that black jacket by that fire hydrant and tossed it back to the ground, y'all didn't know Maddie was wearing a jacket like that the night before, huh? Got that on video, actually. I didn't like it when I saw that. It was like, what did y'all just do? You pick it up, you examine it, you toss it back down on the ground and turn around and walk away. At about 14:23 hours, Jack is that, or wait a minute, J is redacted, JK, the redacted Xana arrived at the PD. Jeff Kernodle, the father of Xana, arrived at the PD. He was informed of Xana's death by Captain Dollinger. Captain Barrett informed me Ethan Chapin's family had been notified of Ethan's death. Barrett asked me to take care of the death notifications for Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez. Barrett provided me with information the university had on file for Mogan and Gonzalez. There was no emergency contact information for either. Ooh. Y'all make sure your kids fill that out correctly when they're away at college. There was no emergency contact information for either, so I called Kootenai County Dispatch due to Mogan and Gonzalez home addresses being in Kootenai County. I provided redacted the KCSO dispatcher of the address listed with the university for Madison and Kaylee. It told me she had the names of redacted and redacted. So Steve and Christy Gonzalez listed as residents to the address provided for Kaylee. I requested the death notification for them. I was contacted by Deputy Mitch Jan from KCSO. He asked what he could tell the parents, and I informed him we knew very little at this time. A short time later, Deputy Jan called me and told me that when he arrived to give the notification, the parents were already aware. Now, they were aware something bad was going on over in Moscow. Steve and Christy were at home that day. They was getting ready to watch the football game. All their other kids were around. Christy got a phone call from like her niece. Something bad's happening, and it's at Kaylee's. And then they were getting information like somebody was shot. There was a party. We don't know if it's Kaylee. We don't know what's going on. For whatever reason, they didn't jump in the car and head to Moscow. They just stayed put. And they were trying to call and get information, but couldn't get information. And they were just getting inundated with random information. And then at 4 o'clock, there was a knock on their door, according to Christy Gonzalez. And considering that Maddie's mother is very close to the Gonzalez's, pretty good chance they called her and said, hey, something terribly is happening down there. I also provided Madison Mogan's address, and redacted was not able to locate anyone with the name Mogan at that address. She said she would send a Coeur d'Alene police officer by the residence to make contact. A short time later, Officer Matt Sykes request I call him. When I made contact with Officer Sykes, he told me Scott and Karen Laramie, Madison Mogan, were parents of Madison Mogan, were driving to Moscow. And we saw Karen in her interview with the Amazon Prime special that's when they got the notification. They got in the car and headed down. Barrett gave the death notification. Barrett requested I interview them. I spoke with Scott and Karen in the lobby interview room. They told me they had a great relationship with Madison, get along very well. She got along with everyone. She had a strong relationship with her boyfriend, Jake, who lives in Boise, and that she had just gone to Boise to see him the weekend prior. Maddie did an internship in Boise that summer. And then she came back to finish her studies, and he remained in Boise, and she was going to go join him after she graduated. I asked if there were any problems with the past boyfriends, and there were none to their knowledge. I asked if Madison had mentioned any stalking behavior from anyone or anyone that made her uncomfortable, and they said she never spoke of anything. And then he tells you then the rest of his shift spent allocating resources where they were needed, and this time it's Monday, November 14th. Mm. That's, one of the hardest parts I would think about being an officer is having to go and give bad news like that. None of us want to get a knock at the door and realize there's a cop on the other side. You know it's not good news, right? I mean, you know it's not a good knock when you see that's outside your door. Pokemon put paper towels question mark. Sorry, I'm just checking chat. Hey, y'all, Ozzy, man, last night I went down some memory lane because I'm a product of the 1980s. And I went hard with Ozzy Osbourne, and he came hard right back. We won't mention your blacklight poster, Ozzy, and what it might do in the middle of the night. We won't even go there. But saw him 3 times. The last time was Metallica, his opening act in Freedom Hall in Tennessee. A month later, Metallica was so big they had to go out on their own. So I was one of the last ones to get to see them together. It was fucking amazing. He never disappointed.
Wow, there's a 2 Hall of Famers right there. Like, I mean, biggest ever.
Mhm.
You were talking about. Are you
Did
muted?
Hulk Hogan die too?
I didn't see that.
Well, Butterfly says Ozzy, now Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan used to live here. Well, he used to live in Pensacola for a long time.
Yeah, he was a Florida boy.
Yeah, we used to see him back in the, what was it? That was the 70s. Jesus. Late 70s, early 80s.
Well, they go in threes. So who's next?
Oh, yeah, right. I know. They say they do.
You were talking about the death notifications, and I actually had that conscious thought when I was driving out here, and that semi swerved in front of us, and we had to slam on our brakes. And then I saw the accident. I was like, I honestly don't know who is my emergency contact information on my driver's license right now. I have no idea who it is.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Mine is my oldest kid because I'm not married. Secondary, because I got 2 grown kids, so they're my emergency contacts. All right, this is about ready. Let's see if it's gonna work. 9. Yes. So did you get a paper towel fitted or not? Did you try it yet?
Yeah, it worked out. We're all good. I gotta go
Hell
get
yeah, look at
coffee.
there. I solved the coffee fiasco. You're welcome. All right, so this is supplemental report by Officer Aaron Morris on 11/14/2022. So that's the day after. Well, that would be Sunday, because no, Monday. Approximately 1100 hours, I responded to 1122 King Road in regards to follow-up. I took note of who came and went from the scene. ISP detectives Blaker and Vargas, prosecuting attorneys entered the residence. Redacted GC arrived shortly after with her cadaver dogs. We actually have photos of her out there with the cadaver dogs to attempt to locate a blood trail from the residence. ISP entered the residence at 11:25 hours. Detective Vargas entered at 11:2600 hours and left at 12:2600 hours. Blaker entered at 11:27, exited at 11:49. Prosecuting attorney Ashley Jennings and William Thompson entered at 11:30 hours and left. They had hours and I think one big old word, left at 11:53 hours. PA Jennings re-entered at 1200 hours. Blaker re-entered at 1200 with Detective Vargas. We have photos of Bill and Ashley and the team out there in front of the house as well. So the canine handler arrives at 13:16. They all remained in the area until 14:21. Everyone cleared the scene, and the residence was secured again at 14:21. I stood by on scene for security until relieved. I cleared the residence at 1600 hours when Officer Rosinski relieved me, and again, he certifies that his report is true and accurate.
Yeah, so the technical term for a cadaver dog is a HRD canine, human remains detection. But yes, they can detect blood. But I'm wondering if it's just speculation because it was snowy out, right? So if there was an actual trail of blood, then you could probably visibly see it. So they're speculating, hey, when this guy left, maybe he had blood with him. So let's call it an HRD canine to see if they can detect it.
Yeah, because they already see there's footprints out there. They don't know whose they are yet. And when you see the photo of her out there with the dog, at one point she's in the backyard and the dog is standing beside her and she's pointing toward back where that car would have been parked. It's weird. And I could never make what is she
Yeah, well,
doing? Right?
they don't point.
And
HRD
no, no, no,
canines
no.
don't
The
point.
lady was
Yeah.
pointing to, she was
Oh,
looking at the police officers and she's
oh.
pointing in a direction, not the dog itself. She was. And I don't know what she was saying to them. She's literally looking at them and pointing. And I don't know if she was saying that way. You know what I mean? I don't know what that was.
Right. Was she saying,
But
do you
yeah.
want me to go in that direction, or
Or
we
she's
went in that
pointing that
direction?
I think it's
Yeah.
going in that direction. I don't know. The dog leader to think go that direction. I don't know. But I would think it would be routine to bring the dog in just in case. And it's probably can be able to pick up a live scent too, wouldn't you think?
No,
Or
no.
no, just if it.
HRD and Live Find are two different trainings.
Well, I know, but why would they bring in a cadaver dog if you're trying to find a live scent from the
For blood.
house? So maybe,
So
yeah,
blood, as soon as it leaves the body, begins decomposing, and
right.
it's that decomposition smell that HRD canines
Gotcha.
pick up on.
That's true. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, shit, wrong button. We'll move through a couple more of these. That's the ones that are quick. Let's see. Ah.
Mama, I'm coming home, said Ozzy.
Mhm.
That's such a good song. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, for those hardcore rockers, it was.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
not. It's a cool song. We all liked it, but it was not like our favorite, right? Hey, Randy Rhoads, that little reunion in the sky was probably amazing. I love me some Randy Rhoads. I like the songs that radio never played. I still do. For some reason, big, huge radio pop success songs don't do it for me. I'm like, I just want the good songs. Made me feel something. But Mama, I'm Coming Home was a good song. All right. So this is report number 10. And this one is from Detective Jacob. Is this the right one? Yeah. This is from Tisdall. Oh, goodness. All right. And got his training records. Narrative. On November 12th, 2022, at 2100 hours, I began an overtime shift for a plainclothes detail on the University of Idaho campus related areas. So that was November 12th. That was ahead of the murders. This patrol was for minors in possession and consumption of alcohol, along with other alcohol and drug offenses. During this patrol, I wonder if he's the guy that got the kids in the Banfield, right? Let's see. During this patrol, I and the other officers with me, Officer Rosendahl, only had our body-worn cameras. We were operating out of Moscow Police Department Ford Fusion, which I drove throughout the entire detail. This is the guys who had the guys at the Banfield. If y'all know, you know. We have video of the cops stopping, 3 young men in the Banfield, and the Banfield sits right behind Sigma Chi, big open field, and you walk directly across it, and you cross the road, and you're walk right up to King Road. Um, and these three guys were stopped there walking around drinking, and yeah, y'all, the video's out there. We're not gonna look at it right now, but people thought they were the guys, and the cops drove the white. Look, there's the white Elantra. It's that cop car. It was a whole mess.
You keep saying Banfield, and I keep hearing you say Banfield.
Yeah, it's Banfield.
Like,
Yeah, not
yeah,
Ashley. We're not,
right.
we're not discussing Ashley. Me and Ashley go way back before she got into true crime the way she is now. But back when she was undercover and going in over there in Afghanistan during the Gulf War, pre whatever the hell that thing was back in the eight, whatever. The whole war I watched on TV, that war, the Gulf War, whatever it was called. I don't even remember now. It's been so long. She used to be badass. She'd truck right on out there in the middle of all that shit. And then it's like, damn, now she done left all that and disappeared for a while and came back and living large over there on the News Nation. Found her way to the YouTube. We were operating out of the Moscow Police Department Ford Fusion, which I drove throughout the entire detail. This particular department vehicle did not have a dash camera or any other recording device. My street time conducted the plainclothes detail concluded at 3:52 hours on November 13th. At 3:52. Sorry, I had to make a note for reasons. Okay. During this detail, Rosendahl and I made several patrols through the area of King and Queen. Y'all did? During each patrol of the area, we traveled on north side of 500 Queen, that's the apartments, heading east. We wrapped around the building, heading south on the east side, then west on the south side of the complex. So y'all was traveling the same little circle that Koberger was circling his prey on. That is crazy. We then traveled north to the west side, turned west on Queen Road, and proceeded to King Street. During one of the patrols in the area while approaching the southwest corner of 500 Queen, I recall seeing a darker colored vehicle with taillights on. This vehicle was parked facing south on the south side of the parking lot, towards the west end. There was a short section of the parking lot which extended to the west of 500 Queen Road, south of King 1122, which was where the vehicle was. Each time we patrolled the area, I drove the same route. During the final patrol, which to the best of my recollection was between 2 and 3 on November 13th, as we traveled north on the west side of the apartment complex, I saw several individuals approaching the residence at 1122. Between 2 and 3? Girls coming home? During this detail, I was looking for alcoholic beverages, open alcohol containers, and individuals who appeared to be intoxicated. I observed the individuals as I drove past, but did not see any reason to contact them for our related patrol. I recall my view of the individuals being obstructed by vehicles and brush on the east side of the parking lot for 1122 King Street. The individuals were walking close a vehicle which was parked in the northeast corner of the lot. They were walking close to a vehicle, maybe. As I turned onto Queen Road and traveled west, I continued to view the individuals. From my recollection, there were at least 2 individuals, possibly 3. I recall one of the individuals having blonde hair. I do not recall exactly how many individuals were there and they were or what they were wearing, or any other details as I quickly looked for beverages in their hands and whether they were staggering from intoxication. Since we made several patrols through the area, I cannot say with 100% confidence I saw the vehicle on the same pass as I saw the individuals. So apparently Maddie wasn't struggling to walk because she was so intoxicated, or he'd have noticed. Upon review of my radio history, I contacted 3 individuals at Taylor Ave about 2:55 hours. To the best of my recollection, this was after exiting King Street and seeing the individuals at 1122 King. We cleared this contact at 3:32. So I'm assuming as he saw the girls walking home, maybe they got dropped off at the corner that before they, maybe Eric didn't take them all the way to their house, the driver. Maybe he dropped them off like right there and they just finished walking the rest of the way. And so does he see them, and then that's when he goes over to Banfield and gets the kids in the Banfield for drinking. Interesting to see how the investigation's playing out, the stuff that was happening at the time. It is to me. All right, let me double check everything here, guys. One moment. What is this? Just got, my son sent me a message a few minutes ago and I didn't check it, but I just did, and he was letting me know that Hulk Hogan did die. Oh goodness. Okay, now I may have to get something to eat before you go live, Joe. Let's take a look and see how long this next report is, what we got here. Oh, this way. I'm surprised they got that they got the website up as quickly as they said they were going to do it. I guess maybe they got tired of people saying they were hiding all the information.
Well, they probably got a whole bunch of FOIA requests too.
Well, they knew they were going to, right?
Yeah.
That's a given. They've probably already been inundated with them for 3 years to begin with. But the fact that Ann Taylor, also wanted this gag order, and there's just the fact that they got it up and they knew it was all going to come out, and now that the gag order's been lifted, it was coming. It's better to do it this way than have to go and answer all of those requests individually.
Right.
I would think, right? Okay. So this is a 2-page report from David Hathaway. And this is going to concern the hoodie guy. Hoodie guy was the guy seen on the video walking from Grub Truck to the corner. From Corner Club to the Grub Truck with Kaylee and Maddie. He was always referred to as Hoodie Guy because all we see is in the video is a guy with a hoodie who appears with the girls, and people thought he was strange. So did some of the friends who saw the video. So this is about him. On 11/14/22, about 22:42 hours, dispatch advised they were forwarding a call to my cell phone. My phone briefly started to ring, but then it suddenly stopped for some reason. The call was forwarded to voicemail before I could answer. When the voicemail came through to my phone, I learned it was from Jack Showalter. The name is out there, guys. I'm not the one who doxed him. He was doxed almost 3 years ago. The voicemail said, "Hey, how's it going? My name is Jack. My phone number is, of course, redacted. I just wanted to make a statement to you guys, but I was close friends with Maddie Mogan. I was with her at the Corner Club most of the night, and after that we left. We wanted to go to John's Alley, and stopped at Grub Truck. They got Grub Truck, and then a car picked them up, and they left and went home. I just wanted to make a statement about," and then it's unintelligible. "I don't know if anything is helpful, but I just wanted, I was just with them like for a little bit, so if I can be of any help, I would like to. Give me a call, thank you." And then it says, "Shortly after I got the voicemail, I called dispatch again and was successfully transferred to my phone. At 22:46 hours, he talked with Showalter on the phone. He essentially said the same thing he said in the voicemail. He said he was out with Maddie at the Corner Club until 2:30. Said several times he did not know who the other girl was with them that night. That would have been Kaylee. Showalter described the girls getting into a silver sedan after they got the food at the Grub Truck. And you can literally see on camera the girls walk off to the left with their food, and he goes off in the completely opposite direction. But everybody's like, no, he went around, snuck around that building and followed them. What the fuck? You got receipts? So, he didn't know the other girl, and they got into a silver sedan, and he confirmed who he was and gave his name, DOB, an address, and phone number. They confirmed with Showalter he drove to his parents' house after or at redacted in Boise. Everybody on the internet said, oh, he took off to Boise and his parents shipped him off to Africa immediately because he's the guy. I asked Showalter how long he planned to be at his parents' house. He said he was skipping the next week of class and would remain in Boise until after Thanksgiving break. He said he was willing to talk to a detective about his involvement with the case. Said he does not have a roommate at his Queen Road apartment and that he lives alone. So he lived right next door at Queen Road. I recorded our conversation with my dash camera and body-worn camera. The videos were uploaded to the WatchGuard server. That's interesting. WatchGuard server. I attached the audio file of the voicemail that he left in the case into the Spillman. Spillman is their database of stuff, evidence. And yeah, then that one is also certified to be accurate. All right. How we doing over there, chat? What are you guys up to? Are y'all chatting or just listening? Is anybody even here? I don't even know half the time. I don't look. I glance over and see my people chatting. I'm like, oh, if a few of my people's here, we're good. Okay.
Well, I've got a video queued up, plus I've got my 2-minute intro, so you've got time to get some food.
Yeah, we're about to do that. I'm just looking at making sure I didn't miss anybody's chats or questions or comments. We're good there. Everybody was like hanging in there with us. All right, so I just left off at number 12. I don't know.
I may jump around a little bit. I was kind of looking
fine.
at some of more of like the electronics aspect of it and the geofence warrants, the Google warrants, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, you can move through that stuff. That'd be awesome. I'm down for that. I'm gonna finish doing this. Of course, I'll go move through the whole thing, but we'll do it. You do your format that way, and I'll do mine, and we'll make it work, and then we can move through all this. What time is Lori's sentencing tomorrow, Joe?
9 a.m. Arizona, so that's 12 or 3 East. No, 9 to 12. So 12 to 3 Eastern, 11 to 2 your time. 11 o'clock your time.
Good, because I'll have to set my show up here after a while and get that ready, get that out there in the YouTube verse so you guys can put on your notifications. Guys, so, one of the mods, there you go. Thank you, Forrest. He's got Joe's link right there in chat, y'all. If you have not subbed up to Joe or everything subscribed over there, go ahead and do that. And we're going to jump over to Joe's channel in a little bit and move through some more of these documents. And I'll be up there with him over there. In the meantime,
so how many did you get through today?
Just I got through 11, the first 11 reports. Yeah.
There are 50 in the first folder, and there were like what, 6 folders?
Yeah. And there's a lot. And so because I didn't read through a lot of it last night, just some of it, I'm just like kind of going through it now. But what I will do later is kind of probably do like you're doing and making sure I'm just pulling the best ones. Uh-oh. Hold up. Let me see what this notification said. It could be juicy. Oh, no, it's in case I missed it. Status pending. Brian Koberger. He's being processed through the center now. So good information. He's being processed, and I'm getting notifications. I got my notifications set up for when Miss Thang over there in Arizona gets shipped back to Idaho. I'll know the minute it happens. Won't I, Lori? I got you, girl. Don't you worry. You can't escape. You ain't going nowhere. All right, guys. Thank you for coming in and joining me here today. We got through the first 11 reports. We'll go do some more on Joe's in a minute. I'll go grab a bite to eat, let Joe get through his little thing he's got to do, and we'll see you guys over there in a few minutes.
We'll see you in a minute.
All right. I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe and follow. Much love from Little Yas to